Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again, part 2 of this very, very special episode. The one and only, the man that I have literally, I have not stopped thinking about this man for 48 hours. The one, the absolutely only, Ori Spado, ladies and gentlemen, in Studio 51. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. How are you?
Back for part 2. I assume anyone who is here now saw part 1. Accidental author of Accidental Gangster. You can find it on Audible. Every other place you may go to get your books if you read it.
My website they can go to.
Website?
www.theaccidentalgangster.com.
It is on the screen.
Pre-orders begin on my website by the end of this week.
Now, what I'm showing you right now is the first book, Accidental Gangster. The first book. He is doing a follow-up, basically a redux, with 80 new pages of all new content. And I got to tell you, it is unbelievable. It is a page turner. I brought him back for a part 2. The first guest I've done that with. Let's get right to it, because your life has been filled with absolutely so many things that I find fascinating, because I think it's applicable in not only everyday life, but as I said last time, you use a lot of high-level psychology and sociology and understanding of human nature to make some of the decisions that you do, business-wise, especially in some of the jobs that you have turned down. Some of the jobs that you've said no to have been some, it's kept you out of prison. It's kept you alive. It's made you the man that you are, saying no just as equally as saying yes. Now, what I'm getting at is you are a man of principle, and a lot of the decisions you've made have been based on, yes, some of your principles, some of the guiding rules that you set down for yourself. But you've also made decisions based on things that are way outside of that. And I'm specifically talking about the psychic. Let's start there.
The psychic?
Yes. Absolutely. When you were told to not that someone was going to die in the El Dorado you had at the time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that this person you were working with was that they were nefarious, right?
My friend Steve Gold.
Yes. Yes. You tell me what. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in chance. I believe in the power of choice. I would like to believe that. Maybe it makes my life easier. But I also know that as smart as I am, there are things that I cannot explain, and I believe in a certain connectivity. I believe in things that smarter people than me have not been able to explain, and I try to, Ori, on a daily basis. Now, you obviously believe in something more, because you believe the psychic, and you actually got a second opinion. You believed it so much.
Yeah.
So you take it from what do you believe? What do you believe?
Well, I've had some experience with psychics. And how I got into it was some guys out of Canada, one guy from Canada, another guy from San Diego. They called me up one Friday. Ovi, if you can get us a meeting with the president of Indonesia, we put $50 million in an account for you in Hong Kong.
Which sounds like the Nigerian email scam, a lot like the current one, right? When you get the random email that says...
I know some people in Indonesia. Do you have a name out there? Who was it?
Zaccaro,
No,
the president.
this was a very good story because you had a friend with the CIA.
Right.
Like you were very well connected at the time.
Benno Persits out of Washington, Seattle, Washington. Benno and I met because we were both in the seafood industry. And so I knew Benno. He went and opened trade with Nixon and Kissinger. So he knew all the people, China, Indonesia, all over. And so Benno said, Ori, I do one better. He said, you and I go there, we'll have dinner in the palace. And the one who makes the decisions, he says, is not Zaccaro, but his wife. And she loves me. So I told the guys, come in. I had them come in the following Monday. And I said, yeah, all right, gentlemen, I could do this here. I could set up the meeting. We need $15,000 in expenses to go there. And they couldn't pay me $15,000. I said, wait a minute. You're going to put $50 million in an account for me in Hong Kong, but you can't come up with $15,000 for expenses to meet the freaking president of the country? I said, I go out and rob a freaking bank to get that money.
Now, this was, for those who don't understand, this was an early form of the Nigerian email scam where someone says, we got a bunch of access to money. The thing is, there were real Nigerian people in the government selling gold.
But these were not Nigerians.
Oh, they weren't.
They were not Nigerians, these people. It was a guy from Canada and a guy from San Diego. And they had the buyers with the money. You got to remember, there's only a handful of people in the country that's going to be able to come up with the money to buy the gold from another country.
Well, you understand
the first thing that country's got to do is pay off the International Monetary Fund with that money if they sell their gold.
Well, when it comes to crossing international lines or getting into dicey stuff, you had a connection. But this was the other thing, and this is what makes Ori Spado a one of a fucking kind. Because a lot of people in this world, they think it's great. Oh, if I have this, I can sell it. No. You got to match up buyers and sellers, and that is one of the great talents that this man has.
Yes.
You have been able to match up buyers and sellers in your life in ways that that people should study. That people in business school should study.
Well, they should.
They won't, but they should.
There's a minor thing in selling. You know what makes a good salesperson? A good salesperson knows that in order to sell, it's 98% understanding human beings, 2% product knowledge. Now, don't get me wrong. You got to have that product knowledge. But the product knowledge, if you don't understand people, you're not going to sell them nothing. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you got to understand that there. You got to understand people. Also, I could talk to the President of the United States and then talk to a guy that's homeless on the streets. There's no difference in any of us. We all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. But I got to know Benno. These people came to me, so they're in my apartment. So now I said to them, well, give me your buyers. I'll put the deal together, and I'll put $50 million in an account for you. Well, they didn't want to do that. They were in Washington. They were paying off all these ambassadors and different people in Washington. They were flush out of money. So now here I am sitting that I got the gold if I get the money. And I remember a friend of mine on another deal had a connection to the Vatican. I reached out to him, and I'm going to sell this gold to the Vatican. So we were setting things up, Benno and I, and then Benno said, Ori, we're going to take it. We got to do a pilot run. We're going to take it by ship.
What do you think you're going to make on a score like that?
Hundreds of millions.
Forget about it.
Yeah. So you got to take the shot, you know?
Sure.
And I believe in taking the shot because you never know what deal's going to hit when you're dealing deals like this. But anyways, so we had the deal fairly much set up. Beto said we could take it to the free zone in London, and then we got transported from truck up to Italy to the Vatican. And he says, I got to hire 50 mercenaries. I think he was going to get them from Taiwan. He thought they were the best in the world. And
what's 50 mercenaries cost? And this is 19.
Benno was taking care of that.
Well, what year?
What
What year was this? Give me some context. How much is?
88, 90, somewhere around there.
Wow, 50 mercenaries, and it cost you quite a bit.
Well, let me tell you what. We didn't have fax machines. We had telex machines. None of you guys know what a telex.
Click, 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 click. Like
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah. So, one Sunday afternoon, I get a call from my ex-wife, Rosemary, from San Francisco. And she's in a panic. She said, you're going to get on a ship. You're going to die. Everybody's going to die on the ship. And I told nobody that I'm getting on the ship. So, how do you know about this? I said,
The psychic tells. Let's clarify.
So
the psychic's telling you.
She
this.
went next door to her friend Lark Williams, who lived next door to her. Lark's a friend of mine. She lives in Las Vegas. We're still friends. And Lark's friend, Jackie Collada, who was a psychic, was visiting her from Las Vegas. And when my wife walked in, she was still wearing my ring that I given her. And Jackie read me. And Rosemary called me in a panic. I said, I want to talk to this woman. And when the woman got back to Vegas that evening, I called her up. And I had to cut part of my hair, send it to her. So forth.
Wait, so you're all in. Like, you're giving her, like, things with your energy.
I'm thinking about this. So now, next day I said, I got to check her out, right? So I find a psychic.
Did you sleep that night?
Yeah, I sleep.
Oh, so you're not nervous? A psychic is... You're about to do the biggest deal of your life. And you were with Rosemary at the time, right?
We were getting divorced.
Well, you were getting divorced, and Rosemary comes up to you
calls me, yeah.
Calls you, don't get on the boat. People are going to die on the boat.
Nobody knows I'm getting on a boat except me and Benno.
So you're like, what the fuck? And
Yeah.
And you sleep that night?
Yeah.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Okay, so
We require certain many hours of sleep. I try to get 4 or 5 every night.
good. Well, you're a testament to a lot of things, but go ahead. Okay.
So I find a psychic that everybody recommended on Beverly near Orlando.
Right up by the juice place.
Yeah,
Up by the juice place.
Right by the juice place. I wonder if he's
Taco
still
Bell.
there.
I know.
As I know it.
exactly.
You know
what-
it, right?
Taco Bell
It was
as I know it.
next door to, yeah.
I know the corner.
Yeah, no, Taco Bell's on the next block.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I make an appointment. It was $35. I went and see him. And he's confirming that. And then he tells me,
So another psychic brings up the boat to you.
yeah,
Unfucking believable.
and fucking confirms it. And not only that, then he tells me somebody's going to die in the car I'm driving.
That you have an Eldorado, a
I
Cadillac
have an Eldorado.
at the time.
My friend Steve
which
Gold.
they call a
we're
Jew
still-
canoe, right?
Huh?
Did they call it the Jew canoe back
Yeah.
then?
I had a nice Seville back in
I
high
didn't
school.
own the, I didn't, I
In
didn't,
high school? Brian, I didn't know you were such a gangster.
I didn't own the car. My friend Steve, he loaned money, he sold drugs, and people couldn't pay him. He took jewelry, cars, whatever. And so, I drove home. I said, Steve, come and get this fucking car. Bring me another one. He said, Ori, the only car I got is that Subaru, and you don't like it. I said, I'll drive it. Bring it. Take this fucking car. Somebody's going to die in it. So he comes. He brings me the Subaru, takes the Eldorado. And he sells the fucking car on a Sunday night, the two guys. That Sunday night, they both got shot in the car. They got killed.
Shit.
So the Mexican drug dealers died in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that time, like, that solidified your belief in psychics.
Yeah.
Do you still currently believe in that, or do you have some type of multiverse theory now about life, or what?
I don't have a psychic today, but that Jackie Colada, she kept me out of a lot of jams. I would call her.
So you believe that you were kept out of prison because of a psychic?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
100%.
Wow.
Fuck.
And then later, through the years, I became friendly, and I managed the ghost tour with Peter James, world famous ghost paranormal. But he was also a psychic, but he only practiced paranormal, and he did the ghost tours for us on the Queen Mary. But I would call Peter and have him give me readings.
So okay, so you believe in psychics, 100%. So how do you rationalize believing in a psychic? Do you believe that in fate or destiny, that our futures are predetermined? What is the easiest way for you to get from point A to point B with a psychic?
The easiest way to me get from point.
Yeah, for you to be like this person, because I know a part of you in your mind has to be like, maybe it's the cops fucking with me, right? It's because in your mind you have to go through logical solutions first.
Let me tell you with Jackie Colada. I was down in Florida. I was doing jewelry heist and other things. A guy came to me with a paint can full of pure cocoa paste.
This was the only time you ever fucked with drugs, really, right? Only time, yeah.
Right. For pure cocoa paste. Asked me if I could do something with it. I said, I don't know. Let me see. What do I know? You know, cocaine is white. That's all I knew about it.
Right.
I never saw it in fucking paste. But I found this other guy, Joe, that we did a couple of jewelry jobs together with. And he said he could take it, they could convert it. So I give it to him. And he calls me up one night, and I met him off the Florida Turnpike at a hotel parking lot. And he opens the truck, and it's full of fucking cocaine. He had to convert it. I said, well, now we got to convert that into money. All right, so he said he had buyers. So it's progressing, and I call Jackie, and Jackie tells me,
Jackie.
The psychic Jackie in Las Vegas. Get away from him. He's setting you up. He's an informant.
Wow.
I left Florida.
Wow.
And she was correct.
And he was an informant. Okay,
Yeah.
so
how did you find out he was an informant?
She told me.
The psychic told
he didn't
you.
know.
Yeah,
But
and
you
then
didn't confirm.
Then I could feel it because he calls me. He tells me he was going through a gate in this development. The guards stopped and the police came. They arrested him. And then his wife's calling me.
It's all the jibber jabber.
All the jibber jabber shit.
Yeah, when somebody's hiding something, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're skating.
You can tell when
They're
somebody's
skating
bullshitting
around
you.
1,000 different ways. So at this point in time, you've attributed at least 2 moments in your life to staying out of prison because of a psychic.
Probably more because
Okay.
Peter James kept me out.
Let's say 4. Okay, let's double. How do you explain psychic ability?
Well, look, with Jackie, I got very involved in it. I started reading Shirley MacLaine's books.
And who's Shirley MacLaine?
Shirley MacLaine, she was a famous actress. Look her up.
Okay, actress Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley
Okay.
MacLaine.
I thought she was a psychic.
Out on a limb. She wrote a lot of books on it.
Okay.
And then I progressed to Seth Speaks. Seth Speaks, and Seth was a spirit that spoke through a woman, what's her name? Jane something out of Fonda, New York. Okay?
Jane Fonda?
Not Jane Fonda,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
It
now
was
hold
the
on.
time.
Shirley MacLaine and Seth Speaks. Because I'm looking all these, and we're going to talk again, sir.
Look up.
It may be on the floor of the Lakers in a couple years.
All right, let's
but
do
we're,
it.
Okay,
we'll
sure.
talk again. I'd be happy to come here.
Yes,
All right.
Shirley.
Shirley MacLaine. I think the book was out on
Yeah.
a limb.
And Seth Speaks.
Seth Speaks. Jane Roberts. Jane Roberts, her name was.
Now, that's a famous psychic, right?
No, Jane Roberts is the person that Seth was speaking through. No, hold up now. Wait, now
this
you
is
want?
good.
Let me tell you
This
something.
is good. This is what I wanted.
It was probably one of the most difficult books to read, but I was into it. And I was in the seafood business, and I had this sales girl, Elaine. I had a ship of a container of shrimp coming from China.
Who doesn't?
All right, and she found Flag Imports, a guy named Lenny Schwartz out of New Jersey. He was the biggest importer, and he put up a $2.5 million what do you call it?
Deposit or what?
No, the $2.5 million.
Embargo, something.
You gotta actually put the money up. It's, you know, the money's there.
Escrow?
Okay, no. What the freak? I forget the name of the banking thing.
Well, you
now.
got some type of backing, collateral,
but
something.
Lenny was putting up to $2.5 million to buy that. So, we're dealing with telex machines, like I told you. And my guy, I sent 2 Chinese guys from Chinatown here to China. And they set it up. I mean,
Like guys you knew? Or like these are like guys from Central Casting?
2 Chinese guys I knew from Chinatown. All right, because they spoke the language. I don't speak Chinese.
Yeah, sure.
So,
You're also
they
a
set
Hollywood
the deal
guy.
up, and then the ship was at the port in Hong Kong. And now Lenny's calling me from, well, anyway, get back. So when Elaine's going to have her talk with Lenny, it's for 7 a.m. East Coast time, 4 a.m. our time. So I tell Elaine, if you need me, you call me at 4 a.m. Put me on the phone with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I was reading Seth Speaks that night. And I was into the dream part of the book. Oh, I finished reading. I went to bed that night. 4 a.m. I'm up. It was the brightest, sunniest day I ever seen in my life. I looked out my window. It was fucking so white, it was unreal.
What do you believe,
And
though?
who's sitting on the foot of my bed? My father.
Wow.
My father's dead. And I had a conversation with my father.
So you obviously believe.
Oh, let me finish. No. I wake up in the morning. I call Elaine. I said, Elaine, I was up at 4 a.m. Why didn't you call me? I said, it was so beautiful. I said, the sun was shining so bright. I don't tell her about my father. She said, Ori, what are you talking about? She said, 4 a.m. It was dark. And then it dawned on me. I said, holy fuck. But that really happened.
But
I remember the day I lived on the Worcester corridor.
But our dreams, obviously, we can manifest a lot of things within our subconscious. Now,
I could only speak of what happened to me.
but you obviously believe in something.
Well,
What
have you heard of the book Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian L. Wise?
No.
It's very similar in that it's about the meditation part of that.
Yeah.
Like you can create a past life, or you can have a conversation with somebody who's not with us anymore. But it's all through meditation. So, like it's like kind of like what Brian is asking. It's like, the psychics have a vision or they have their thing. There's other people who can meditate and bring the vision on themselves, but you have to be open to it as an individual. So it's like someone like you who maybe thinks, or whose friends are, the people that you work with think that they're against it or they don't believe it and they think it's bullshit.
I don't go by what other people say.
Do you believe in
got to
fate?
understand that I started reading books. I started getting involved in my own. You know what I mean?
Well, do you believe in fate? Like, do we make conscious choices that change our life, or are things predetermined?
I believe we make the choices.
So then what does the psychic see? She sees you making the bad choice? What future reality is she seeing? What is...
You know what? I got no fucking clue.
Oh, you've had to think of... You're a smart man. You've thought about it. You may not have a clue, but you've thought about it.
Look at I'd be sitting there and the psychic would call me with stuff. How the fuck they know what I'm doing?
Well, exactly.
Right.
So what does your brain tell you is happening? Is it God?
Could the
Is
psychic
it God talking
Could
to
the
them?
psychic be an FBI agent?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is it God talking to them? Whatever God may be? Is it...
I don't know, but some people do have psychic abilities.
Well, I believe some people run fast, some people jump high. Other people are able to feel and to tap into energies that others are not. It is ridiculous. It is narrow-minded to think that certain people don't have talents because of your inability to understand what that talent is.
Right.
So I don't know how to clearly answer it, but I believe in a universal energy. And I believe in my way to describe it, and I've thought about this long and hard, sir, because I don't attribute a lot to luck. When people constantly say, "Oh, you're so lucky." No, luck is preparation meeting opportunity. You're prepared, you're open-minded, an opportunity presents itself, and you are able to step through that opportunity, which you have 1,000 times in your life.
Well, I have a saying: the harder I work, the luckier I get.
That's a great saying.
Amen.
I love that.
Absolutely. Amen. Absolutely. Like that is... And that is like we were talking about in episode 1 about some of the values that I think are kind of lost in the social media era. Just because kids get programmed for instant gratification, and you know as well as I, you get gratified by playing the long game.
Yeah. Social media, you asked me in our last interview, and you remarked how good I do on it. I had to learn that by myself. I didn't know a goddamn thing.
Sure.
You got to remember, my son Anthony has helped me out immensely. But, it's like when Anthony first moved in with me in 1999, I remember the first computer we had was in his bedroom. Anthony be sleeping, and I'd be at the computer at 6 a.m. Anthony, how do I do this? And don't fuck with Anthony in the morning before he ate. Okay, you don't even want to talk to him till he ate. All right, and here it is, 21 years later, and I'm still asking Anthony. Pops, I told you. And then Anthony, he does like Team Viewer with me on the computer. He's trying to teach me stuff. I said, Anthony, I can't do that. I do good on social media. I know how to post. I'm still not good enough. I'm not great with the hashtags and all that stuff. But I'm willing to learn. I keep myself open. And then if I can't do it, I want to find somebody that can do it for me. Because I'm merging with my second book. It's the revised edition of The Accidental Gangster. And, my goal is to sell 50,000 or more books.
Your goal is 50,000?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do everything I can to help you.
I appreciate
that. To get it there, sir. You have so many applicable lessons for people today because, like we were talking about before, things are gonna get worse. Like when Yeah, I'm gonna actually put your book up on the screen next to you for the next few minutes so people can see it. Now,
Can I just
as well, one second. As the world gets worse, we're gonna whoever gets elected, there's gonna be another stimulus package, and
I don't know
there you go.
about that.
Yeah, they have to. There's gonna have to be one more stimulus package, no matter what. No matter there has to. If a Democrat gets elected, it'll be enormous, and the bubble's gonna pop. Because it's a bubble on top of a bubble. You can't just constantly print money. Like my sister actually lives in Italy, in the south of Italy.
Why can't you continuously print money?
Because
what do you think they've been doing all these years?
Well,
Why
of
do you
course, well,
think-
it catches up eventually. I
well-
don't expect it to, and hopefully not in my lifetime, because I don't want to see that. I sure as fuck. If this is like the worst days I see in my lifetime, I feel fortunate.
There's going to be a lot worse coming from this COVID that people could even think about. Brian and I were talking about it on the way here.
And that gets me scared, sir.
Real estate is going a plummet.
And it's not even seen the worst yet.
They haven't seen the worst.
Not even close.
Not even close. Because, like, if you remember, I was in prison at the time of the recession that when Obama was president. Okay? And they say George W. started it, whoever started it, don't make a difference. But what happened then? A lot of companies laid off a lot of people, and then they found out they didn't need all those people. I have a friend that got a job at Disney. She was 60-something years old when she got the job. But she was so good, they laid off 6 younger girls because she was able to do the job. Not only that, they allow her to work from her home.
Now you're also talking about how different the world is now than it used to be. When you were coming up as a young buck, there weren't as many people as smart as you. There just weren't. You were a man amongst boys at a very early age. And now there's just so many people. Whatever you think of, there's other people working that same angle. And you got to be better, and you got to be smarter, and you have to be more adaptable. And I don't know if that grinded out attitude that you need to make it is instilled in the youth. So I see a big divide coming.
Education today in our country is nothing compared to how it was. We went to school, we learned stuff. When I moved to California, California had the best education system in the country. We were number one. You went to college, it was free. Okay? It's not like that no more. Why?
Because the teachers aren't getting paid now.
Because it's not because the teachers pay. That's not it. Yeah, teachers never get paid enough. They got a tough job. Why we got fucking kids in school, going to school with guns and killing people? I mean, it's just, we live in I'll be honest with you. My friend lives on Kings Road. She's afraid to walk her dog at night because people are getting mugged and people's phones are getting stolen.
Not.
All right, what's the new thing today? We dream, we made
jobs,
but today everything's computer, social media, all right, and the hackers hacking in the banks.
Ori, I got to tell you, you saw L.A. the way LA's changed so much in 40 years.
Oh, yeah, no idea.
And you've seen it go from bad to better to it got real nice and clean. And
like the 90s were probably really good.
Well, no, that's when Hollywood Boulevard was dangerous in the 90s. You remember how shitty it was? It was all just Chosky
But
shops.
everybody's still going to Musso and Friends.
Sunset. You couldn't drive down Sunset Boulevard.
You remember?
The street was full of hookers.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The street, they were literally in the street, not on the sidewalk, in the streets. And what did the police start doing? They changed the law to start arresting the Johns. That's how they cleaned that up. What's wrong?
Ask him a question now about the Johns.
So tell me what happened.
The Johns. They started arresting the Johns and not the hookers. And that stopped the guys from going, which got the girls off the streets.
Well, the streetwalkers.
Streetwalkers.
L.A. used to be notorious for that.
Forget about it.
There we go. Go ahead. Keep asking.
Look at it. The guy went out, had a few drinks. He didn't score in the bar. All right, he drives to Sunset Boulevard and picks something up.
Yeah.
He get his rocks off.
Well, no. We had a small technical issue. I had to switch the things, but Ori's talking about in Los Angeles, streetwalkers used to be a huge problem. When you go through some of these residential neighborhoods around here, you'll see the no left turn sign after like 10 p.m., which is weird. Like, why would you not be able to turn left after 10? Because they knew people were picking up hookers on Hollywood and Sunset, going in the neighborhoods, turning left to get a blowjob. They weren't turning left to go home.
Right.
They were turning left to go make a transaction. L.A. used to be notorious, and now they'd cleaned it up, and they turned a blind eye to what they call rub and tugs now, which is to each his own. Remember in New York when they would post the photo of the persons getting busted at the rub and tugs?
Yeah.
And then they ruled that was illegal?
Well, look at
Robert Kraft just got off
today, but
his
see,
case.
there's another thing. You want a girl, go on the computer.
And
My friend owns Cheetah's nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard, which is closed now.
So-
and he don't know if he'll ever be able to open it.
Now,
again.
this is exactly what I was going to... I'm so happy you brought this up. My question for you is, what the hell do some of these business owners do right now? Say you're a small business owner, and because you've started your own business, you've paid your taxes, you've paid the government a hefty amount of money to stay in business, and all the businesses. Now, say you're a small business owner going through this, a hotelier, a strip club owner. What do you do? A restaurant owner. Like what? How long till they can really recover? I mean, do you try to just do takeout? What do you do? What does a strip club owner do?
Well, first of all, he is totally closed, and he's predicting that it'll be sometime next year before he could open. But in the meantime, he's still got to pay out $12,000 a month, and nobody's helped him out. The government hasn't helped him out. He hasn't gotten no loan.
Wow, he never got any business loan for
no.
Because I know the Spearmint Rhino people. That's a big corporation. They were up in the line because they donate to political parties. That's a
What
big
about the body
corporation.
shop right on Sunset?
I used to DJ at all these places. There's no.
Did you know that he was a
when
DJ
I was first starting out.
Do you ever work for Bobby at Cheetah's?
No, not at Cheetah's. I worked at.
He was a little higher class. Okay.
No. I worked for the person who owned the body shop, the Seventh Veil, and
Tony.
Tony's he's dead now.
Tony died?
The kid, right?
The kid died.
Yeah.
He was friends with Anthony. Yeah.
I'm
I'm friends with the father.
But the father's still alive.
I tell a great
Father's still
story
alive.
about Tony on stage, and this is a great comedy story because
Tony Madera.
yeah, man, that was him and I, because of my principles, him and I actually got into it, and I walked out, and he had substance issues. But
Old man?
young Tony. I'm talking Tony Jr.
Oh, Tony Jr. Definitely.
Yeah, Tony Jr. passed away, took over. I never knew Tony Sr. Okay.
Yeah.
Who am I talking? Who the fuck am I talking to here?
This
Ain't no
fucking
fucking
guy.
with a junior here. This guy. No, so Tony Sr. passes away. Strip clubs go to the wife. Or the ex-wife. She took him over when he
Wait, Tony Sr.'s still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she took him over. The mother took him. She was running them. She was running the day-to-day.
She was running the place on La Cienega.
Yeah, that one. But she was going to all of them. Like, he's not Is he doing okay, Tony Sr.?
Yeah, he's still
alive.
He was at the body shop. I mean, my friends told me he was at the body shop last time.
Okay,
he
well,
was
yeah,
there.
well, I only knew Tony
Yeah.
Jr. then.
He still
Well,
goes there
and I
every
knew
night.
the mother, and she was the one who'd send me to all the other places, so I thought she was running it. But yeah, they were an interesting family, and Tony Jr. and I tell people this all the time, and I give a kind of backstory that he was the son of a strip club owner that you would expect. He was like degrading to women. He didn't treat it like a business. A lot of drugs and alcohol. But this is but now he's buried right next to Paul Walker, right up there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like anytime you see a Paul Walker movie, you can tell that story. But no, that's a real, like this is old school LA. You would only know this.
I'm going to tell you about old man Tadero. He's a real man.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to hear this. Yeah.
A few times when Jimmy Kachi get busted, needed bail money and stuff, I go see Tony. He was on La Cienega at the time.
Yeah, where do you go?
That
with
was
someone who
the set. What were we called
when
at
you
the
need a lot
time?
of cash, where do you go? A strip
Right,
club.
and
Well, it looks like a penis right out front.
No, it's
the
on
Star
La
Strip. The Star Strip. That's what it
I
was
don't
at
know
the
what it's
time.
called.
That's what it
No,
was.
No.
Yeah.
But that they didn't serve booze there.
Across from the Roger Room, right there. It's
But Tony was always there in cash, helping. No hesitation.
that's.
Yeah.
See, I never met him.
And
I
then
never knew.
he had the place in Las Vegas. I've been there a couple of times.
And what are your thoughts about prostitution? Should it be legal?
Yeah.
I think for one, you got to drop the moniker about prostitution because it's sex work.
It's what?
It's sex work. The women are working like you are paying them to do a job.
Right.
They're working for it's not prostitution has this negative kind of moniker to it that someone is doing something wrong. But if two people go into a business transaction and they both feel like they are getting what they intend, it is work. That
Right.
is one person doing a job.
Work for hire.
Yeah. And so that's why I don't agree in the moniker prostitution. I said it myself, but if the only way it's ever going to get legal is if that is dropped.
Yeah.
Because it's sex work. They're sex workers.
Yeah. But, it's like I tell my friend Bobby all the time. His business was getting really good because they changed up the thing and what they were doing until they closed. But prior to that, I was with Bobby from when he had to take his club back over again after he sold it. And he had to start from scratch. And
if you want to look at the screen, sir, that's the one that's the Star Strip. Remember, that was the place?
yeah,
That girls.
that's it.
That was it. Yep.
Yeah.
I was DJ there. That was the stuff.
Yeah, so
And right next door, they have yoga now.
Yeah, now
If
it's a
anybody's
Yeah, they've
interested.
been trying to shut that place down for years and years and years.
so anyways, what was I going to say now?
No, anytime anyone went in there, he broke them off in cash. He was a man of principle.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
But he always knew I might need it.
no, you come
You
from
follow me?
yes.
We come from an arena where people wanted to be our friends and people take care of us because in the back of their head, they know if they got a problem, they can pick up the phone and call us.
But you also come from a generation of principle, and that's something that I think is also a little bit lost when you kind of talk about things like protection, or you bring in any type of organized crime aspect. People think like there's a loss of principle or moral code, and you come from a generation where that mafia moniker really stood for something with principle, and I feel like you're kind of one of the last of the Mohegans.
Yes, well, I get out there. I'm one of the last. A couple of us left throughout the country someplace.
you might be the only that I ever get to talk to, and that's why I give credit where credit is due.
You know, when I first wrote and had the manuscript finished, I sent it out to two people. Nick Pileggi, who's a very dear friend of mine, and Jack Gilardi, who was an agent at ICM. And Nick, after he read my manuscript, he called me up. He said, Ori, you got a great story here. He said, but Ori, there's one thing. You don't say anything bad about any of your people. I said, because I got nothing bad to say about them, Nick. They're good people. They're human beings. They got good hearts. They take care of their family. They take care of their friends.
Well, you didn't, from what I see, you didn't really deal with people you didn't want to. Like, you seem to have a lot of discretion when it came to the people that you worked with. Even when you're working some of the most nefarious parts of our, because the black market economy still moves a lot of money throughout America and the world, and people don't understand how necessary it is to keep the machine rolling.
No, they don't.
But you do.
Yeah.
You've seen. And that's why even when you were working in that black market, you were very selective in the people you worked with. Hell, you consulted a second opinion of a psychic to double check the people that you were working with. And that...
Well, the other thing, go back to your question, that, I was offered my button twice and turned it down. And there's a very good reason for that.
So the people who don't know what that means, you claim, and I have no reason to not believe you, but you claim that you were offered twice to be a made man and turned it down because you wanted to hold your independence, which again...
I wanted to hold my independence, number one, but number two, you got to remember, I had a direct dial to the top people. Once you become made, they assign you to somebody. You no longer had that direct dial.
And when you say assign, what does that mean, assign?
They put you under another crew or whatever, another captain or something.
So all your earnings, you'd have to cut all your earnings.
You got to cut up. You got to pay up. Yeah, you got to pay tribute. Yeah.
And you never needed to pay any tribute because you didn't feel like you needed to? Or you wanted... Why did you... Because how few guys in the world have ever turned down being made once, let alone twice? So what made you think you didn't need it, or what? Did you ever consider it?
Or do you think that put a target on your back? Because
that puts a bigger target on your back.
Well, shit.
Because nowadays, when a guy gets made, all right, the FBI know it immediately.
They knew about you the whole time.
Well, yeah, they knew about me. They knew about me when I landed in Los Angeles.
And they
came to me. And they told me, all right, it was outside of, it was Midway Hospital on Olympic Boulevard.
What was the division of police, the LAPD?
Well, everybody knows it, the Goon Squad with, Sean Penn did, played the movie, and before that it was with Nick Nolte and Mulholland.
And these people had illegally tapped you?
Oh, yeah, illegally tapped you. And I caught it a few times. Not that they could use it in court, but they knew what the hell you were doing. You know what I mean?
Or they would use it against you to tell a snitch to go tell something.
Yeah, but they, I'll never forget. My girlfriend broke her arm. I had her in the hospital. I'm in the emergency room. We're waiting to go in, and a detective comes out. Mr. Spado, I want to have a word with you. I said, can't you see that?
Is it about my wife?
All right. I got to get Mr. Spado, this should take a minute. So I walked outside with him. Mr. Spado, we knew the day you came into town. Okay? Be careful. We do not want you practicing your trade here in Los Angeles. We know you're close with Sonny Franchise. You got me straight, Mr. Spado? Yeah, okay. My trade.
Yeah. Like you say,
what's-
you didn't know what
what's
your-
my trade?
Yeah.
Now, your independence probably kept you also, you say it puts a bigger target, but it probably also kept you out of jail for a long time, too. No?
No, that was the psychic.
No, not only is psychic.
A lot of things kept him out of jail.
Okay.
No, you were...
You got to know what you're doing. You got to know where you're going. You got to know who you're talking to. You got to look behind every tree. Okay, I walk down the street. Do you think I just walk straight down the street and not knowing what's around me? All right, I approach a tree. You got somebody behind that tree. You can't see him.
Mm-hmm.
But now when you walk past that tree, he come right up behind you. You got to be careful of that.
And you attribute
I learned that when I was a kid.
your old man, right? You
Yeah.
say, keep your head on a swivel.
Always know what the freak is going on. And to this day, I know. And I got the same sense of things when I'm on social media. I know when people are trying to see what I'm doing. I know. It's just something in my gut. It's
So
a
social
natural-
media is a different beast, though. How do you stop that from happening?
You can't stop it, but you.
Or how do you
could
get any kind of
You're able to detect
handle
it.
on it?
Basically, I know who it is.
right?
Okay, I know who the individual that has his people is somebody else, and he's got a huge following. God bless him. You know, he's been doing it for 30 years. I'm not going to mention his name because I ended that feud. Because I'm not out to bury nobody. I'm not out to fight with nobody, and I'm not competing with nobody. Who I am is who I am. I take full responsibility for everything I've done in my life, and I got no regrets.
Don't you think we're all just we're our biggest enemies ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Right? You've seen that. I mean, our biggest enemy can also be our choice in relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you fall in love, like matters of the heart, sometimes you're fighting against yourself.
Yeah, because, you know, when you start, as Walter Feisty used to tell me, he says, kid, you always make money when you think with your Jewish head, but when you think with your Italian heart, you fuck up. He's right.
So what do you do? Can you tell advice to someone who falls in love with the wrong person? What do you do?
If you fall in love with the wrong person,
Because I look, man,
I'm
not saying I'm in it now, but I've been in
okay, but
bad
let me ask
places.
you a question. You fall in love. Why did you fall in love with the wrong person? Was the sex good?
No, it's usually because of something that I see.
No, it's because the sex was good. Be honest.
Right, because you know
Be
yourself.
honest.
You know yourself.
no, do you
like
know, as
said.
I've
Be
got-
honest with me. It was the sex was
As
good.
I've gotten older, I put on less a priority
Wow,
on that.
he's skirting the question.
how old
you
are
see
you?
that?
I'm still old enough to be considered. I don't. It doesn't matter.
He's skirting. He's even skating that question. He won't even answer
Okay.
how old he
no,
is.
no. Okay,
Brian, you
I've
don't wanna
dated young and old. I've dated young
Let
and
me tell you
old.
the most powerful thing on earth
Yeah.
to a man
Yeah.
is that little thing between a woman's legs.
I
They're
thought it
not
was
a-
confidence
look
you were
at-
talking about.
They're not all the same. Okay?
No, they're not.
All right? And some are better than others, and some are really way better than others. And I've had them all. Okay? All right? So, did you fall in love or did you fall in lust?
That's true. And have you married? How many times have you been married?
Only twice they're legally
Twi-
married.
Twice, yeah, twice league. The Reno was Rosemary, right?
First wife was Antoinette, who's the mother of my children.
Yes.
A very good woman. And then my second one was Rosemary. And that was lust. Rosemary was a great woman, don't
Yeah,
get me
no,
wrong.
no. You say nothing
She's
but
a great
positive
woman.
things.
I got nothing good to say about I was a blessed man to have two good women in my life. But I was a fuck up because I like women. And there was a period of time I just liked too many women.
Sure.
I mean,
I think that's a lot of guys' problems.
yeah. And, I couldn't go a day without getting laid.
And
as a married man.
As a married man, sometimes I had to have it a few times a day.
but you're a stallion. No. You had the adrenaline was flowing. You're making big moves. Okay, like you. There's a certain thing in our life. Drugs may not have been your thing, but there was a rush. There was a power involved in all the things that you did, and that I think all of us search for in different aspects of our life. You actually got to experience it. Yes, you learned from your mistakes.
I learned from my mistake, but I got to tell you something. The best thing that happened to my children was I got divorced. I'm going to tell you why. Their mother is wonderful. Antoinette's a wonderful woman. And we're friends to this day. If I would have stayed married to her, I can't tell you how many millions of dollars I'd be worth, but I'd be very wealthy because I was good at what I did. And I would have spoiled the shit out of my children. And you know what? That didn't happen. I tell my kids they're lucky that didn't happen. Does that sound crazy?
No, man. And it took me a long time to accept that. Look, my parents got divorced, and I got to tell you, my mother, she taught me a tremendous amount. Like, she's a strong, independent woman. But the 5 years she was with my father, he put her through the ringer.
Well, I didn't put her.
No. That's why I'm saying you're a good. But that being said, them getting divorced and me having to pick myself up and maybe always constantly seeking for this approval that I could never get, it taught me to just to be who I am and to adapt and to not hold things too hard, because life is going to throw you so much shit and you got to step around it sometimes, and you got to do every fucking thing you can. And foreseeing a problem is way more valuable than being able to fix a problem. If you can foresee a problem and avoid it, that's way more fucking valuable, but you get way less credit.
Right.
You get way less credit. And I learned to be smarter and better because of some of his stuff. And yeah, maybe divorce did help. But I think you also being a man of principle helped even more. And I don't know if you're giving yourself enough credit there, because your principles, I believe, have a weight.
Each of my children have a part of that in them too.
Did your children make you a better man?
Yeah.
When your first was born, did it change you?
No.
Second, third? When did it change? When did it really? When was the moment that you look back and you're like, I got to be better for these guys?
Prison.
Really? It took that long? Until it was taken away?
No, I was always good to my kids.
Yeah, sure. I'm not saying you weren't.
When I made scores, and I made a lot of them, my children were the first I took care of.
But I heard in your book there was some sadness about missing things with them.
Yeah, look, I miss the things that a father is, being at the breakfast table, dinner table, and, I'm just not that kind of guy.
Sure, but...
I'm not that person. I'm not the person somebody else wants me to be. I can't be that. I could only be me.
Well, you learn on your own time.
It's like people invite me to parties all the time. And some parties I have to go to. And when I go to a party, I walk in. Hey, hi, Brian. Hi, Brian. Hi, Mrs. Brian, Mrs. Brian. Okay, I walk around. I don't even have a drink. All right? I say hello to everybody, and then I'm out the door.
No, I was going to say, I can imagine you don't last very long at a lot of parties.
No.
That's great.
I can
Where
imagine.
did Ori go?
Yeah.
And you said hello. I didn't see him after. He just...
Well, I think you and I usually call that the hot seat, but I didn't today because there ain't no fucking seat that's hot for you. It's like, I think you and I, there's a particular cloth that I may have a thread of, and I see so much in you that I feel like is so important for the youth, for these people who are growing up with parents who don't know some of or at least know how to teach some of the things that you do. And I think it's a real valuable lesson because you're true to yourself, and we're all
Well,
different.
Look, the other thing is the time that I spend with my children, I'm honest. My children know who their dad is. Okay? So I'm honest. And I'm
When did your
honest
kids first know you were a gangster?
probably when they were born.
It was in their genes. It was in there. In the
I have to ask my children that.
Now, when was the moment when you know, when you're like, oh, he's probably going to remember, or she's going to remember that? What?
Well, you know, look at it. I know for years, particularly in Hollywood, when I would walk in the Four Seasons or Beverly Hills Hotel, I walk in, I know people stare at me. I know what people are thinking. There's a gangster. Okay? I know that. I learned through the years to use that to my advantage. All right? It's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. When I got out of prison and I was living with Anthony over on Elfreth, there was a little place, coffee place on Santa Monica Boulevard. And I met this another gentleman there, and we sit outside, have our espresso, and be smoking. And I remember one day, a couple comes walking by. They were tourists. And they stop at the table. And they look at me. And the woman says, "You're a gangster, aren't you?"
Do you have a big lot
It was
of
probably
cash?
my mom.
And I looked at her and I said, "Well, thank you very much," I said. I really appreciate you saying that. She said, "You do?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Because, you know, I'm a good gangster." I said, and I equate a good gangster like somebody would equate a good doctor or a good lawyer.
Right.
All right? I had to have my education to become what I did, how I obtained it, and so forth.
Again, there's bad doctors. There's a lot of bad fucking. You know,
Yeah, but I said,
at your ripe old age, you know how many bad doctors.
I said good doctor.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You have took your lessons and really put them into practice, though.
Yeah.
You've taken your beatings and you got up from them.
And I feel like you also take as something that's negative and turn it into a positive also.
Oh, I believe,
everything there's no negative. You can't have any negative shit around you.
No.
You can't. So you take anything, any situation that is presented to you, whether it's in a bad light or a good light, you make it. How do I make this in a good light? How do I understand? Like you said, put yourself in the person's shoes and understand what they're going through and their emotions.
Well, you
and
got to
make
remember,
it a good positive.
every adversity has a seed of equal equivalent, and you got to be able to turn it around.
You're a very spiritual guy. You really are.
I am.
Okay, so since you skirted around my psychic issue and you wouldn't give me an answer, when you think about life in the universe, okay, let me ask you this. Do you believe in aliens?
I haven't seen any.
Well, you haven't seen a ghost, and you clearly believe in ghosts, right? Or
I got a picture of a ghost right on my phone at the Queen Mary. I believe in ghosts.
well, you talk about ghost in the Queen. That's what I'm saying. So, but have you seen with your eyes a ghost?
I got a picture.
But
that I set my son down one night.
and you took it with your cell phone?
Anthony went down many years ago. I think he took it with a camera. I got it right on my phone.
Could we see it?
Okay. Yeah. I'll show it to you.
Okay. Well, okay.
Okay. And when Anthony went
was
down
a
that
ghost?
evening, because, sometimes Anthony had to go.
Oh, I was there that night. That was for his birthday. Are you talking about his birthday at Rayo's?
Well, Anthony's, let's see. No, when Anthony got out of his car, I think it was back in the day, maybe it was a camera he had. I don't know how he took the picture.
Yeah. See,
But I'm going to show you the entrance to the Queen Mary.
you're obviously your energy. You're very open to things in the universe.
Absolutely, because I don't know everything.
So, well, amen. Amen. The person who is open to the things that they don't know is more likely to learn about them and to grow from them.
Correct.
So,
And you got to remember also, I'm an avid reader.
do you
Always have been. A variety of books, and I read every single
Well, I
day.
can't wait to hear about the Seth Speaks, about especially this
Okay.
dream.
So there's a lot to say about someone who's well read.
Well, someone who's well versed. I think being well versed.
Being worldly.
Well, because in my latter years,
You see the ghost, Brian?
Get the fuck out of
I
here.
mean,
This,
you know.
I can already tell you, this is an episode of Searching for Bigfoot. Okay, like we're not gonna
Let's
say.
see. What do you think?
Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Let me see.
And who took the picture?
Anthony.
Yeah, that's not the most definitive ghost proof I've ever seen. Let's
Well,
put it that way.
I got a million stories about the Queen Mary. It's the most haunted place on earth.
A lot of people.
Okay,
think
now
that,
didn't
yeah.
didn't a lot of people die on the Queen Mary?
Yes.
Okay, now for those of you who don't know, in the book he'll get into it. This is right when Jerry was it who was it who did the Titanic film?
Cameron.
James Cameron was just releasing the Titanic film. You were involved in an opportunity where you made a nice for a year. You made a nice bit of change off working with the Queen Mary and showing off
15 years.
15 years, but I thought only 1 year you made the money, that good money.
Oh, I
Those
made
good
money every year. Are you kidding me? I got every year.
15,000 a month you were making
This
on that
guy.
when the Titanic came out. You said
17 to 22 grand a
Woo.
month.
that's
But
nice.
you got to remember, I did Treasures of Russia from the Hermitage Museum.
So he.
I did the Marilyn Monroe. I did the World of Reggae.
So
featuring
you're the
Bob
man.
Marley.
You were part of the group or the man who helped figure out how to monetize the Queen Mary in order to get visitors.
When they
repeat
called me
visitors.
in, it's in my book. You can read it in the book. I don't want to tell too much. Let the people read it.
Yeah, but I just wanted. You didn't talk about a lot of ghosts in the book. That's for fucking sure.
Well, no, because that's an entirely different book.
Oh, that's in the.
First of all, look at. I met Peter James through his brother. Peter James' real last name is Nastel, and his brother was a vice president of the company. Used to be before Live Nation. It was something else. I forget the name of the company. And Tommy's wife was going to manage some singer, and they talked to, I think it was that guy Perlman in Florida, and he told them they had to get a hold of me in Los Angeles. So Tommy called me up, Tommy Nat, and he told me about it, and I said, okay, meet me at the Four Seasons. He said, how am I going to know who you are? I said, just ask anybody there. So when I walked in, boom, he knew right away who I was. He came to me, we sat down. He told me about it. I said, well, if I could, I'll help you. All right. Then he says, listen, he says, maybe you could help my brother out. He said, my brother is Peter James. I said, why is your brother Peter James and you're Tommy Nash? All right. He said, well, our real name was Nastel. We grew up in Rochester. Our mother brought us up. And Peter, as a child, was playing with ghosts. They were his friends.
Playing with
Yeah.
ghosts.
Yeah. What happened, the place they were living in, there was a fire, and the whole family got killed in the fire. It was revamped, and the mother would be looking for Peter, and Peter said, I'm playing with my friends, Mommy. And there's nobody. Mother opened the door. There's nobody in the room.
So
And Peter's talking to people.
okay.
So Peter talked to ghosts. Peter, if you check it out, you want to laugh.
Was Peter
All right.
crazy?
No, Peter was not crazy.
Okay.
All right, there's a girl, Jackie. It's a swimming pool on the Queen Mary. It's on a recording. Peter got her. You could hear her talking.
Okay, so what? So what happened? These people never passed into the afterlife. What do you? What is your explanation?
Oh, man, now you're getting really, this is a whole nother subject.
You know, this is a hard hitting fucking show.
Yeah.
Or you see, I came prepared.
Or
I have no cards.
This
okay?
is, I don't know if you know, but it's Studio 51.
Yeah.
It's not anything after
Not-
Studio 54.
Boy,
it's all about Area 51 in a
Yeah.
studio.
Well, I believe.
Okay, I
I'm-
didn't
Oh,
realize.
let him grab another
I should have
cigarette.
brought
Let's
another
talk.
pack of cigarettes.
We'll go run out and get you one.
very much into trying to learn about things that I
All right,
don't
now
know.
I'll tell you another story.
Yes, goddamn
So
right.
now I go down to Queen Mary, and I said, look at Joe Prevatello in Howard Bell. I said, Joe, ever hear of Peter J? Oh, yeah, he used to be here, and he discovered ghosts and this and that. I said, could we do anything with him? And Howard said, why don't we do ghost tours? I said, yeah, we'll charge $100 a person. Now, they could only have 35 people, all right, because some of the areas of the ship are too narrow to bring a lot of people. So, and we did $100. That included dinner on Sir Winston's restaurant at the top of the ship and a question and answer period with Peter. The first show was December 27th. I can't remember the year. Okay? 2 days after Christmas. So I said, I got to go down because I got 10% of this, All right? And we were only doing the shows Friday and Saturday night. That was just another avenue of income. I made a lot of money from the ship from a lot of different areas.
That's beautiful.
Okay? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm listening to these people talking to Peter. Questions going back and forth. And I could tell some of these people are not from Los Angeles. So I says, could I have a raise of hands who's not from Los Angeles? And a bunch of people, about 7 people raised their hand. I says, so I'll step outside. I want to talk to you folks. So I felt there was a logical question to me. I said, I'm going to assume that you folks are probably here visiting relatives for the holiday, and you saw that we had the ghost tour, and you came. And they looked at me like I was the biggest freak on earth. And they said, are you kidding? The moment we learned that Peter James, a guy from New York, San Antonio, Canada, all over the country, they bought their airline tickets and they booked their rooms. Here I was wondering, I was worried if we were going to get $100 a person. We got 35 people.
Wow.
All right? Friday and a Saturday night. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, I fucked myself. I should have gotten part of the rooms.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the food and beverage.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, because I think that it's 6 degrees of separation. I could have been 1 floor down or 2 floors down from you maybe 15, 20 years ago. I heard that there was a situation in where you had to collect money for a madam. You smile on the face. So you know the story, what I'm talking about.
You've collected money for a lot of people in Hollywood, but
Yeah.
you're talking about.
I'm talking specifically.
Elizabeth Adams, the Beverly Hills Madam, or Heidi Fleiss?
That's the one.
Tom Sizemore bought me my first prostitute ever.
Huh?
Tom Sizemore bought me my first prostitute ever.
Really?
Yeah, I was like 19, 20.
From Heidi?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know where he
Probably.
got it.
Probably.
He answered the door naked. He had this tattoo over his crotch that said Heidi with a baseball bat, all methed out. Yeah. Don't let Tom Sizemore kill more than more people.
No, I got to know Heidi. I was taking care of Bob Kroll from the Trammell Kroll family out of Dallas, Texas. His father's a multi-billionaire. Peter in his own, Bob in his own right was worth $55 million. But he could only sell, anything he sold, he could only sell it back to his father. And Bob supported the underworld of Los Angeles. There was actually an article. drug dealers, prostitutes. Prostitutes would take a check from him, knowing it's not no good, but eventually it's going to be good. And a generic hooker, Bob paid $5,000.
When you say generic hooker, what does that mean?
That's somebody you might find in out of the Hollywood Express or one of those papers.
Like a girl you might actually see out
You
at a
call
club.
these the regular girls.
A girl you can get for $100 or $200. He paid $5,000.
These are the girls that would only fuck with the regional dealers.
Yeah. So
right.
anyway, so what happened
It's
was
from the book.
one night I'm late. I just get home. My girlfriend is an addict, as you read in the book, Deborah. And she's passed out on the bed, and I'm laying there, and it's like midnight, and the fucking phone rings. It's Elizabeth Adams. Elizabeth Adams was the Beverly Hills Madam. That's who trained Heidi Fleiss. Okay?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
This is beautiful.
All right? So she said, Ori, Heidi's got a problem with, what the fuck's his name? He was a producer. He produced one TV series. I think it was a series. What was it called?
Jeff Franklin?
No, with the guys, the red car, a blonde guy, fast car. What the?
Knight Rider?
Huh?
Knight Rider?
Yeah, that's too before your time.
Oh.
You guys too young. His name would come to me. You know the show. But anyhow, she said, I got Heidi on the phone. So Heidi's telling me the story. Well, this guy was in love with Heidi and breaking her chops, this and that. I said, okay. I says, give me his number. So now I call him. He lived in Century City. And I said, look, this is Ori. Now, you got to remember, I got Heidi Fleiss, Elizabeth Adams, and then I got this guy on the phone. His name would come to me, too, because I don't forget. Sometimes I have a lag.
Not Charlie Sheen.
No, not Charlie Sheen. No, I collected from him, too.
Oh, I love
I
it.
wanna hear that
Oh, my God.
Yeah?
So I'm laying in bed and I'm talking to him, and he says something, and I get up. And my fucking, my veins are popping on my neck. I said, let me tell you something, you motherfucker. I climb that fucking wall, I'll come in, I'll take your fucking throat out. I said, no, better yet, here's what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to bar you from every because he loved nightclubs. I'll bar you from every nightclub in town. All right? I mean, I really went off. And it wasn't shortly there. I wonder if the feds ever got tapes on that there. Because it wasn't too far after that Heidi got busted. What the fuck? Ivan Nagy. Ivan Nagy was his name.
Wow. Calling out names.
I love it. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah, Ivan Nagy.
see. This is what I was saying about in episode 1. There was a lot of psychology and sociology in, and I saw right there a bit of a youthful Ori. Like when that memory when you're this motherfucker. I saw it, and for a man of your size, that's why you minded your words very carefully, and you knew how to hit a person where it counted.
Yeah.
In very few words. And that, like I say, that's high level psychology right there. That is exactly what people have gone to college for and worked for the police for, to profile people and how to talk to them into ways to get a reaction that is not only beneficial to you, that like influences them, you know, that really affects them. And that is something that I believe, as much as it can be taught, it cannot be taught. And this
Moreno, that's the name I'm looking for earlier today. He was the case agent against with Joe
this
Dog.
fucking
Oh, boy.
Wow.
It's
Wait,
Moreno.
Moreno,
I'm
not Moreno.
I'm Moreno.
The FBI used that name.
I'm Moreno. That's Marino. That's like Dan Marino.
No.
Different. This is Moreno. My mother's from Bogota, Colombia. She has nothing to do
There's
with
only a
the
certain
FBI.
amount of people, like Brian said, your size, you know, yeah, okay, maybe you're not the tallest guy, but there are a number of people that command a presence when they walk into a room, and you're one of those people. You know, Aaron Spelling was one of those people, a very little guy, but a lot of power. And, you know, like you said, even when you walked in places and people would say to you, you're a gangster, you know, you're like, you're damn right. Thank you. Thank you for that, you know. People, that's just who you are. And even though you might, being a little package packs a strong punch.
No, you're true to who you are, and that's the thing. And when I heard your book for the first time, I understood how clear you were about yourself, because one of the opening things is that you understood that you were a little different than everyone. That you, from the very beginning, just saw things a little differently. You behaved a little differently. I'm thankful because my mother taught me to appreciate that. But I don't know if it was your father. I don't know if it was just who you are, but I feel like at an early age, you got it, like who you were, and you were accepting of that. And that, to me, like, people don't learn that. A lot of these kids are afraid to try. Look, I'm into a lot of weird shit. I'll talk to you about everything, Like, there's a reason I'm single.
Well, I learned about never being a snitch from my father.
Never what?
Being a
snitch or a rat.
Snitch?
Snitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that from my father.
Yeah, my mom, one time I ratted my sister out and she beat me up. No one likes a rat.
Well, that same
Shut
thing
your
happened to me.
fucking mouth.
That's the same thing that happened to me. My sister ratted me out. My father hit her.
Yeah.
Never rat. That's just how I learned.
But my mom was from Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah, so
Pablo
she
Escobar.
knew, yeah.
Nobody likes a fucking rat. Shut your mouth. Right? But that's a lesson that I don't know. Maybe in this PC culture, kids don't learn in the same way.
Nah, kids don't learn. They don't.
Maybe getting divorced allowed you to teach that. Like you say, maybe you're the
I have a friend. He's a fairly big actor, and he does not live in Los Angeles. He lives in Connecticut. Married to another actress, but they got 2 kids. And I said, why you live in Connecticut? He's got to fly back and forth every freaking week. He said, I don't want to raise my kids in Los Angeles. His kids didn't have cell phones until they were 18 years old. Okay? He wouldn't give them to them. All right? Today,
they might have had it without him knowing.
Today, kids are born. They got a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody the other day. We were talking about social media and understanding it. I said, Jesus Christ, I said, I'm an old man and I'm trying to learn this yet. And it's very difficult. She said, well, look, I got 2 children, 1 9, 1 4. The 9-year-old's a whiz, but the 4-year-old's way ahead of him.
Yeah.
All right?
That's how it is in most families. Like, I'm the youngest. I feel like you learn a lot from your older siblings if you're lucky enough to have that and to be smart enough to, figure out how to gain from it. And I think you end up on top.
You hope
Maybe advancing.
You hope to end up on top, but you got to be able to learn from your lessons. You got to be able to take your beatings. You got to be able to learn from them. And you got to be able to adapt, because all these people crying about how the world used to be, and I'll tell you, Ori, I was that 5 months ago. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I got corona right when I was in Salt Lake City, sick as shit. Across the street from the Utah Jazz game, where Rudy Gobert's touching the microphones, like, ha, ha, ha. I was across the street performing at the comedy club, canceled the show, sick as hell. Fly home. My girlfriend, like, I got taken care of. She's a doctor, UCLA. Yeah. But I sat on my couch and I gained a bunch of weight. And woe is fucking me. No stage time. But the same shit my whole life.
Comedy club's closed right now, right?
What? Yeah, everything's fucking closed. And even when they come back, I don't know. I don't even know how it's gonna be.
I don't know how they're gonna make it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If they could only have 25% capacity.
Yeah. I don't know when I'm gonna see that peak again when it used to be. Maybe one day I gotta do outside shows again. But I had a brand of comedy that I think you would have really liked. And I've reinvented myself so many times. Before comedy, I was the West Coast public relations manager of the Wall Street Journal.
Really?
Yeah. And when I left that job, I was doing things, like I say, that I'm thankful that I'm free today and able to do this talk show. I'm free to speak my mind. I don't have to look over my shoulder because I understand. You talk in the book how hard it is to wake up every day and look over your goddamn shoulder. To have to watch your back, have to mark every word you say because you know that someone else could be listening to everything. That the only time you're free is in your mind. Like, that's a hard fucking place to live.
And, you know, you mentioned the most important word, you're free. And that's what to remember, free.
Yes, and I think about it every day, and that's why I'm thankful. And that's
know.
why I want some of these kids to listen to this and learn from me, learn from you. God, learn from you.
You know, I come out of prison with nothing. And
When you say nothing, what do you mean nothing?
no money.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Clothing, nothing.
Nothing. I come out, I'm 68 years old. Come out with nothing.
Jeez.
I had to fight to get my Social Security back. Forget about it.
And you've had everything.
Yeah, and I had everything. But I made a promise to my kids that I would never go back to prison. And I'll keep that word. But I got to be honest, a lot of times I think of the money and I think, man, maybe I'll just do one more run, one more thing. But then I say,
But you know how the one more always ends.
that one
right?
more is going to end up back. And then
You know
if,
that.
If I go back to prison, I'm going to die there.
You know that.
And it's not where I want to die.
I said that same fucking thing. I said that same fucking thing just so you understand like where I come from and why I have not only the utmost respect from you. I hope one person listens to this and learns how to be just a little better. Because God damn it, you have done it and I have done it and I'll do everything I fucking can to help you. I think your book, oh my God, your book, it reminds me of a time and a place. You understand, my sister lives in the Buda of Italy, in Lecce, a small little town. Yeah, I got a lot more to talk to you about.
Southern Italy?
But yeah, Southern Italy. She lived right on the little boot. I go all the time.
Calabria?
Yeah, not too far. Yeah, that's
where I'm from, Calabria.
beautiful. When my sister, because trust me, her and all her friends, they listen to this, they're gonna hear this, and some of them are gonna shit themselves.
Oh, I Calabria. Our name was Spada, Spada. It's a big name in Calabria.
Oh, I can imagine. No, I can't wait. Like this, like I say,
It's a big name with the Androgata.
Enjogata.
You know what that is?
No, I don't, but I will find out.
You've heard of the Sicilian Mafia?
Sure, of course.
This is the Calabrese.
The Calabrese.
It's the biggest in the world. And they only keep it of families.
Well, no, see, the Southern Italy, people don't understand. The North is organized. The South is ruled by old world men and women that when they make a decision is finito.
We are, the Calabrians are known as the most violent. Yeah, we got a reputation.
Ori Spado, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the absolutely only. He's a man amongst boys, someone that I think we can all learn something from. Learn from others' mistakes so you can do better. Brian Schlesinger in the newsroom. We didn't do much news today, but Brian Schlesinger, co-producer of the show, we cannot do it without you. Ori Spado, I would call it the hot seat, but nothing is too hot for a man. For a man like you. I am Brian Moreno. This has been the Brian Moreno Show. We'll be back again, and hopefully with Ori. Thank you, sir. Is there anything else? We're going to plug his book. He's got a new book coming out in about 10 days. I'm going to make sure I got a new website coming out. I'm going to make sure everyone has the links.
And have them go to the website, my links.
What is your website again? Go ahead.
www.theaccidentalgangster.com.
www.theaccidentalgangster.com. Ori Spado.
Don't forget the dots or the W's.
ORISPADO.
Go there and subscribe. Just don't go there. Subscribe.
Yes, do it all. Like I don't say that. Like, this show is in such its infancy. I let the ether decide where it goes. But Ori, I have learned so much in such a short time with you, and I am so thankful. I would love to have you back. Thank you for coming to Studio 51,
being
sir.
My pleasure, Brian. And Brian,
This has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. And to all of you, stay out of jail.
definitely.